Yup, I did the unthinkable. I spent over £1,000 on a desk. And come on, not just any desk, it's a standing desk.
Shut up and take my money!
This is the Secretlab Magnus Pro XL Pure White Edition. Pure White Edition, the highest priced fully adjustable standing desk from the Secretlab collection. And I know if you guys are in the market for a brand new desk for your PC setup, this Magnus Pro is definitely on your list. But is it really worth paying that extra 300 to 500 quid to jump from a cheaper Amazon desk to the Secretlabs? Well, hopefully this video is going to help you guys out. Should you go for the Pure White Edition over the black? Is the cable management that good? How bad is the Table Wobble? And how do I get those lights? Let's jump right into it. So let's start from the very beginning. Assembly. For this, you're going to need a second person. Make sure you grab a buddy because that massive box on the right, that is 60 kgs. So if you have to maneuver that around the house, upstairs or wherever, you're going to be struggling, trust me.
Shut up!
Now the overall assembly did take me about just over an hour, but it was late at night, and as you can see, I'm ready for bed. Check out my pajamas. Now, if you're familiar with IKEA furniture, this is way simpler. It's a few large items, but they literally just click into place and then you just screw them on. And to be fair, apart from the whole weight issue, it's probably the easiest table setup that I've come across. There definitely was a lot less fiddling around, especially when compared to my original desk. And surprisingly enough, the most difficult part of the setup was the magnetic table mat. I mean, look at this. We're literally going back and forth, fighting with magnetism itself. Actually spending 20 minutes trying to align this perfectly. Now, when it comes to the Magnus Pro, there's actually two separate models. There's the standard and then there's the XL, which is slightly longer and wider. So if you guys are using monitor arms, either of them would work. But if you're using the original stands that come with your monitors, you might want to consider the XL, because that cable tray at the back eats up quite a bit of space, and on top of that there's a warning label not to put too much weight on it. So you might be able to get away with a couple light things here and there, but a whole monitor? I don't know, I wouldn't risk it.
Oh no! Our table! It's broken!
Then let's come back to that cable tray. It's very long. It literally spans the entire length of the desk. However, it's not that deep. I mean, you can definitely fit an extender lead and plugs on top of that, and then stack cables on top as well if you wanted, but it is a bit tight. Now, take that with a grain of salt because my use case is kind of unique. I'm actually running not one, but two setups within the desk itself. So I've got a computer and all of the cables leading from it on the left, and then on the right hand side, we've got my laptop dock setup, both of which running cables to both monitors. Now, of course, most of you guys are not going to have this type of setup. It's going to be one system, and there's definitely plenty of space for it. As long as you go sideways with all your cabling, you're going to be good. Now, on that topic of cable management, I love the fact that it's got power running through the leg itself. So there's one power in socket right at the bottom of the leg, and then at the top, hidden away, a single plug outlet, perfect for hiding away that extension lead. And trust me, look at this setup. This is literally the result of my second attempt of cable management in here, but that whole two system shenanigans definitely takes its toll. Now, all of the height adjustment for the desk is located on the right hand side. You've got up, down, 3 presets, save, and then the on off switch. It's as simple as that. And as the desk moves up and down, you can see exactly what height you're set at. And all of these are touch controls. So they're not buttons that press in, you just tap on them and off it goes. Pretty slick. Oh, and listen to this. Not too loud, but just enough to give you that futuristic transforming feel. Now, as for accessories, the 4 that I went with were the RGB customizable lights, which of course I had to include, an additional cable management bundle, a floating desktop mount, and just in case I want to be plugged in, an Ethernet extender. Now the lights are pretty cool, an unbroken strip of RGB running from left to right, which fit perfectly within the crevices of the table. And on top of that, it's actually held in place by magnets, fully taking advantage of that metal structure of the table. Now, it's not really a downside, but the lights itself can be physically controlled by this kind of cheaply structured panel. You can flip through different presets, turn it off, turn it on, adjust the dim levels. It's useful, but while I was putting it in place, the cable easily slipped out. But yeah, once you have it set up, I wouldn't recommend touching it. Instead, move over to the mobile apps, which gives you a ton of customization options, setting up different scenes, color arrangements, controlling the patterns itself. But the app is deep with tons of customization. Now the one thing I haven't really figured out yet, which I'm kind of hearing online, is the fact that you can pair the lights to the computer by Bluetooth, but I don't know, I haven't really figured it out. And to be fair, now that I've got this set up already in the color schemes that I like, I don't really have a point to it. And as a prerequisite, you are going to need a spare plug socket for this, so just keep that in mind when you're counting and pre-planning the number of plug sockets that you need. Overall, I like it. It's cool. Next up, we've got the Secretlab Cable Management Bundle, and of course, matching the table, it's the Pure White Edition, which includes 3 magnetic silver case anchors, which are fairly strong. Like, look at this, I'm struggling to pick it off the table. 10 Velcro fastening straps, as well as 2 magnetized cable sheaths. Now with all of these, it's fully up to you how you want to utilize them. For example, checking out the tutorial videos, they're using that metal sheaths along the legs of the table. The cables wrap around, up the leg, then into the trays. Whereas here, what I'm going to do instead is run the cables straight out into the sheath, which is positioned horizontally along the bottom of the table itself, and then wrap it around and then into the cable tray. And because I didn't have much use for that second sheath, I kind of used it to hide the front USB cables of my PC. But again, because majority of the desk is made out of metal, you can position it almost however you want. Alright, next up, the floating desk mount. And this one, to be honest, was a complete pain in the ass to get set up. I mean, it screws straight into the desk itself, which is awesome, but actually getting your desktop to perfectly slide in, honestly, it was a struggle. I was sweating buckets trying not to drop my PC. Now of course, with the mount, you can either fit it to the left leg or the right. Just keep in mind, if your PC has a viewing window, it might be obstructed by the leg itself. So yeah, depending on what you're going for, it is a slight inconvenience, but yeah, it's up to you. I mean, here you can see I've covered a portion of my viewing window with the leg itself, but that's because I want it to be prominent when someone walks into the room. It's one of the first things they're gonna see, whereas if it was on the right hand side for me, it's literally hidden away. And to be fair, once you do get over that hurdle of actually attaching the computer to the desk, it's not too shabby. And finally, the last accessory, the Ethernet extender. This I kind of got just in case. I mean, currently I'm not too sure how I'm going to connect my Ethernet cable from there to my computer without a cable just dangling on the floor. But yeah, that's a future me problem. Now as for this extender itself, this helps to keep everything nice and tidy. So your cable isn't just dangling in the air as the desk moves up and down. Instead, your Ethernet cable plugs straight into it. It runs up the leg the exact same as the power supply, and then out it comes, so you can connect it from the top straight to your PC, giving you a much more elegant solution for Ethernet users. So is it actually good? As someone who goes from bed to car to desk to desk to car to desk to bed, I'm telling you straight, you need a standing desk. Like, your back's going to really appreciate it. I know mine's is for sure. The fact that I can just switch quickly from sitting to standing and then back down again when my legs get tired is a godsend. And the fact that you can do it all without breaking your flow, it's the one. You need a standing desk. Now as for the Magnus Pro itself, it is clean, elegant, and with the magnetized accessories, it's definitely futuristic. Now, if you're bad at cable management, this desk is the ultimate tool for you. Like, you don't even need to really know how to cable manage for your setups to look awesome. You can literally chuck all of your cables in, close the flap, and you're done. It's basically as simple as that. I mean, to be fair, I'm not great at cable management, but with a couple zip ties here and there, as well as those Velcro straps, I'm pretty much done. It only cost me an arm and a leg. So yeah, if you can cable manage, I don't think you really need the Magnus Pro. Just buy a cheaper desk at literally half the price, add an LED strip at the back, and you're pretty much done. There's your Magnus Pro, custom made, saved yourself a couple bucks. So how bad is the wobble? It's alright. At the lowest level, it's barely there, but at max, you're definitely going to feel it. Even just leaning on the table, it is going to move. That's just part of the whole two-legged design. Maybe if I had all four, it would be a lot more stable. Personally, I'm never really going to set it to the max. So at about 109 centimeters high, it's not too bad. Like, I'm never really putting all of my weight on it. But if you do, it is going to move. For the £1,000 I did spend on it, it should and could have been better. But do I mind it? Not really. Is it really a deal breaker? I don't know. What are you planning on doing on the desk? So should you go for the classic black or the new pure white edition? Now personally, I'm going for that black and white look. So I kind of like this standout block of a table. And to be fair, for my use case for videoing content on a desk itself, on a workspace, I think it's going to do a pretty good job. Now, as for the RGB lights, they're pretty decent on the white, but there's just something a bit more special about the black table and the RGBs. Now, having said that, there is something else that you guys do need to know. Something you wouldn't actually think about. The fact that the table is white and majority of the cables out there are black means from a certain angle, you can literally see all of my cabling. Yeah, it's definitely not the most prettiest sight, and it's only more prominent on this white table. Sure, most of the time you're going to be looking at the table from about 45 degrees to straight on, but the cables are not going to be hidden as well as they would be on the black tables. Because the table's black, the backdrop is black, the cables are black, they all blend in. Here, on the other hand, it's a totally different situation. Like here, for me, I think a workaround that I can probably get to is having some sort of trim or sheet or something that would sit between the tray and the tray rest to kind of cover that space. But yeah, another future me problem really. And it's definitely something I didn't think about before. So yeah, I hope you guys learned from my mistake there. At the end of the day, the Secretlab Magnus Pro XL White Edition is a beast of a desk. Got space, style, functionality, but obviously because it's an all white finish, it does come with a double-edged sword. It looks beautiful and clean and organized, but every cable and every mark is definitely going to stand out. And obviously don't forget stains. That's a thing I really don't want to test, but white stuff stains and on black it shows a little bit less. You really need to commit to keeping things spotless here. So would I buy it again for my setup? Yeah, absolutely. But for most people, I would say look at your needs, and if you're good with cable management, just hold back the budget a bit and you can spend that savings on a better graphics card. I don't know. This table could be better. And make sure you always measure your workspace, because these desks are big, especially this XL version.